All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about Gervonta Tank Davis with some shocking words about his fight with Hector Garcia after all of this stuff has hit the fan yesterday with issue taking place between he and his significant other. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 135-pound division, talking about Gervonta Tank Davis and his fight with Hector Garcia, where Tank has now said that he is feeling a little bit different about taking the fight, and that low-key, he don't want to do it. Now, before I get into the details of that, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. Also, shout out to my guy, Ox Steel. Love the conversation that we have in the super chat. Came in and hit the link on the super chat. Had a real, on the live streams we had. Thank you so much for your support over there, man. Also, thank you to everybody that supports in the super chat and the cash apps of the videos that we do, and in the super thanks of videos like this. It's really, really important to continue to let this type of content come out. The support that you guys give, but let's get into the subject matter of the video, and that is that Gervonta Davis went on Twitter and said something that was, made a lot of sense, man. First of all, a little bit of background. Yesterday, a bunch of, news bust out that Gervonta Davis had been arrested on an accusation made by his significant other, and related to him putting his hands on her. Something happened in that regard. The specific details of it was that she had suffered a small abrasion on the inside of her right upper lip, and that it had come from a closed-fisted slap from Gervonta Davis. And so he was arrested. He was released on $1,000 bond. And now, he's out. He then, releases a lot of information defending himself. Like, he really, I thought that, Gervonta was going to be quiet until he went to court and all of that, but he didn't do that. He jumped out on the media and was like, look, first and foremost, I did not put my hands on this lady. I didn't do it. I definitely didn't and I did not put my hands on my child. He said this stuff, he's been dealing with this. He's tired of dealing with this, where people try to, pretty much come up to him and start stuff with him so they can turn around and try to get some money out of him on the back end. He said that, people had asked his significant other, suggested or said that they would pay her $50,000 if he pressed charges, if she pressed charges on him. All of that type of stuff. He a very long note that he laid out there and just talking about how tired he was, but defended himself from the accusations. And honestly, man, in this particular instance, I'm really glad that he did. Right now, also, there was a 911 call that was released in which the lady was saying that, he's going to do this to me. He's going to do that to me. I'm not going to say it out loud, but, was in fear for her. She feared for herself. Right. However, in the things that she said, she never said that that he had hit her or done anything to her. She was just saying that he wouldn't let her leave, and that he wouldn't, that she was afraid for herself, right? Whatever the case. Also, somebody that was around him at the time also let a statement out and was like, that 911 call was not anything like what was going on. So it's probably going to boil down to, my suspicion is, some he said, she said between the two of them. And if she can't produce some type of picture or some type of proof that she didn't get that abrasion from something else, it may not go anywhere. But at the end of the day, it may go somewhere as well. My stance on the matter was that, look, let it go to court. She accused him. Being accused of something does not mean you're guilty. doesn't mean it. So don't treat the man that he's guilty. He had a whole lot of people running around on Twitter, whole bunch of people making, talking in the chats of YouTube channels and all of that stuff, calling Gervonta Davis everything but a child of God. And, he did that before he showed pictures of spit on his face that he said happened from her, took pictures of his own body where somebody had hit him, right? Where he had been hit and been cut, right? Showed pictures of his house and his house being torn up. And, basically laying and saying, hey, man, this girl was going bananas. And that, hey, the reason that she was yelling is because I wouldn't let her have my car. And so whatever, man, we're going to find out. However, one thing that he did say, though, when he was asked about the fight and about Hector Garcia, he's like, man, I low key don't want to do the fight. Right? He's like, low key, I don't want to do it. That, in my opinion, is the real risk here, is that Gervonta Davis, you got something like this happening a week before the fight, right? Or let me see, like 9 days before the fight, because today is Thursday and it's the Saturday after next, right? So you got 9 days before the fight takes place. He gets his training camp disrupted, right? He gets his training camp disrupted by, him having to, I don't know if he stayed overnight or what happened. Having to post bond. So his training gets, physically his training gets disrupted, and his mindset is on, now is on a domestic issue with his significant other and his child. So, where he may have been, dead set focused on, on what was going on with Hector Garcia, now he got his mind somewhere else. That is definitely a risk for him going into that fight, especially if he does not gather his mind and get himself focused on the way in there. Now, I'm not saying that's a case where, it won't happen. I know that he's been training for a while. You can see, it was at least a month ago that he was on the Rise podcast. Shout out to the Rise podcast, where he looked like he was on weight. And, he was he's in training, he's sparring and all of that good stuff. I do believe now, though, I do think they're at the point in time where the sparring, where the sparring decreases. So, and he may be, entering into a period of time where there's a little bit more rest in the camp in the last, in the week heading to the fight, provided that, that he's on weight and doesn't have to do any real dramatic weight loss. But at the end of the day, man, he said, I low key don't feel like doing it. Hopefully that's not the case. If he gets in there and he doesn't feel like he wants to do it and his mind isn't right, Hector Garcia is a good enough fighter to be able to take advantage of that. And that's just not a good sign, man. Now, what I do believe will happen, though, is I do believe he will fight. There have not heard any word that he was going to pull out of the fight. There was talk, shout out to YSM Sports Media, who had an interview of Mr. Hackett, a trainer out of Bosie's gym, that said if the fight didn't happen, then put Gervonta Ennis and Speedy Ellis is the featured event on the card to kind of save the day. I don't know if that would still be pay-per-view or not or whatever, but whatever the case is, man, I just hope that his head is right for the fight, and also that whatever that situation is, for the good or the bad, gets worked out in a way where people get to, where she gets to have her side of the situation heard, and he gets to have his side of the situation heard. And, nobody is really getting dumped on or having their whole family business drug around the internet for too long. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.